Okay. Can everybody hear me? It seems like I thought I was live. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm going to name the app. Don't worry. God, I promise I will name the app. Who is with me today? All right. Well, God bless. Today is Easter. And for those of you who don't know, Easter is the day that is normally celebrated as the day that Jesus died or rose again from the dead. Um, Kind of an interesting holiday for people of faith. Uh, I would definitely count myself as one of those people. I'll tell a little bit of my story here a little later. Um, so anyway, how is everybody doing? I'm sorry for all the confusion. Yeah, it was, and one man born today. Yeah, exactly. Um, so anyway, it's really good to have everybody in here. Very good. All right. I do definitely need to get my glasses cleaned. I'm an old man, so please bear with me for a second. I barely got to this stream on time, so I hope everybody is there. Okay. So, yeah, so anyone who knows that Jesus is Lord, just type something in the chat box or something. Anyway, uh, I just got done eating, so all right, and so Bible apps, cool deal. So one that I've been rocking lately is this one right here. Is it? Do I have a? Oh, did I? Oh, I did. Didn't close it actually. Right here. This one right here. Son of Man. You see ORB? Okay. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I just got the. All right. So anyway, let me resize this because we'll go back here. Lost this Son of Man app is really cool. And so books, King James 2000. Let's go to. Okay. Mm, I'm still getting used to this AI or this GUI or CLI. I mean, um, oh right, that's right. Okay, there we go. And maybe I should share my screen. That would be kind of novel, right? No, I don't use Emacs. I use NeoVim. Emacs is too slow. When you're a software developer, Emacs is just too slow. So I use NeoVim. It's a little quicker. But this Son of Man app, I've been rocking with for a few days now, and um, I'm still getting used to the CLI thing, but it's kind of like what Luke Smith did, like back in the day with his like Terminal Bible, except on steroids. It's got some really good. Uh, Sorry about that. I just ah okay. So yeah, I've been looking at this. I've been using looking at this for like 2 or 3 days. It's called Son of Man, and it's just like that Luke Smith CLI, except it's on steroids, and it's really good. I I really like it. I can do a lot of different things with it. For example, like when I study the Bible, I can have like my verses and stuff, and like I can look up words and phrases and different things and get to like the meanings of different words and that sort of thing. And it just comes so yeah, that's a good question. That comes with mainly the King James 2000, King James 19 or 16, whatever it is, like so 1611, yeah. And one, so like since I live in Mexico, I read mostly La Reina Valera 1960, 1960. That's the best translation I've ever read, bar none. It's my favorite translation of a language that I actually read. Um, it's pretty, and I don't know if it's because there's a copyright or why I can't get La Reina Valera in that language. I'm still trying to figure this out. I haven't found a Bible app that gives me that, so I might just write a CLI myself with La Reina Valera 1960. There's 1909, 1989, but 1960, that particular Bible translation. And yeah, it has a few others. Um, so the King James 2000 is very, very similar to the New King James version, at least close enough. I have other apps, but this CLI is pretty cool. If I'm just waiting for, maybe a new version to come out. Maybe I would like La Reina Valera, 1960. Man, I would be such a happy camper. So I don't know much about programming in databases, um, but I did figure out a while back how to get the books of the Bible um, into a CLI, like the same CLI that like Luke Smith did. And so it would be very tedious if I did it by hand. Like it would take me, um, it would probably take me like a week. And somebody's already blowing me up. Maybe they don't like whatever it is that I'm doing. Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, okay, no, it's Brody. We like Brody, right? Okay. So anyway, yeah. So I do definitely like that, and maybe I should put my stream in here. Ben, are you in here by any chance? If not, I will definitely on here. I'll get a shareable link. Oh, I barely got here by the seat of my pants, and um, all right, here we are. And I just have to check one thing before we get started and go a little further. Mm, That's what I thought. Good deal. What? Okay, so I don't have a lot of time, right? No, I do. It's two, three, four. So I got about an hour. Okay. What church am I from? Well, let's see here. That's a good question. Um, I'm a member of the Church of God from Cleveland, Tennessee. Um, I'm so that's the original Church of God. That's the one that was established in 1905. There's been a lot of splinter Church of Gods since then, but I belong to a church that was directly related, and I even went to Bible college through that denomination. But I've been a part of the Assembly of God Church for a while. I have some theological differences with the Assembly of God Church, but honestly, the more I study the Bible, the more orthodox I become. I think like the whole concept of like pious living can't be overstated and it can't be overlooked. And unfortunately, a lot of evangelical churches, uh, they they overlook that. So I have uh, I just don't think that honestly I don't think that evangelicalism is really for smart people. Unfortunately. It's and I mean I'm not trying to say like I'm all that, but and I'll tell you a little bit more about my life here momentarily and how I actually came to faith because I actually didn't want anything to do with Christianity for the longest time. Like 3 or 4 times, I was like, "Yeah, I don't want. I'm not interested." And somehow I always make it back. All right, so Son of Man, this is a good. So this is available right here on Flatpak. Very good, very good CLI. I really enjoy using it. Um, I know that's where this search thing kind of bites, right? Okay, education. Now, if I search here, it's in here. Well, no, right here. It's actually really good. I've tried FOSS in the past. I think I have Bible time and studied. Um, yeah, but anyway, do I believe in demons? Well, yes, I do. I guess I do believe in like the supernatural and that sort of thing. I don't believe like everything is a demon. I think that's a little like esoteric and typical. But yeah, I absolutely, definitely, like when you see people act a little strange and sometimes, you might think they might be being influenced a different a different way, or being influenced or yeah, like they'd be like manifesting as they say. I don't necessarily believe just because somebody's acting erratic that they're manifesting, though. All right, other Bible app. Wait a minute, where is it? Oh, education, Bible time. So anyway, all right. Now this one probably is my favorite. This one comes with so many different Bibles and different things. Here's all of them that I have. Like like I can make really cool comparisons. Like like if I had one in English and one in Spanish, I can make really cool comparisons. This is probably the one I probably use the most, and it's probably got really small text. But yeah, move the window. Okay, there we go. Yeah, actually, I don't need this. I was just making for a okay. So like I can. So this is a book, The Good Samaritan. That was actually kind of interesting. I was reading about that. Okay, so give a description, this, that, and the other. I can go to Bibles, English, Spanish, Hebrew. I even have a few Greek translations and that sort of thing. And so, yeah. Hold on. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll make this a little bit better here. Uh, there we go. I think now everybody can. What's there? There we go. I think we're good there. So anyway, yeah. So I think you can kind of see like this. Hold on. Sometimes I have a problem with this. Oh, full screen. Let's not do that. No. Okay. I'm still getting used to this one because actually I do use it sometimes, but like the whole like the sometimes it's kind of like when I use GIMP, right? And I even though I use it all the time, like when I close the wrong window, I have a hard time getting it back. He sure does. I saw that interview a couple months ago, and I like Luke Smith. I I really felt bad for him because of that hit piece that um, the Guardian wrote about him. I thought it was incredibly unfair. Like for the most part, like I mean, people they I don't know, man. Like he gets a Bitcoin from somebody who commits suicide, and it's like all of a sudden, like Luke Smith that ascribes to everything that this alt right person was thinking, or what they believe or whatever. And I think that's incredibly dangerous. That sets some really dangerous precedents because, like, I like if you judge me by all my associations, I would be a pretty guilty fella. Um, but see, here's the thing, man. My associations um, with people, it's funny, because um, you know, if somebody like asked me, would you befriend, you know, would you befriend somebody I disagree with? Of course I would. Like that's you don't know that. Okay, yeah. So like so basically the hit piece was that some guy committed suicide. He was an alt right guy, and he left Luke Smith a whole Bitcoin, back when it was about $60,000 a piece, I think, or something like that. So anyway, who else is in the chat? So anyway, like if you were to judge me by like every once in my life, why wouldn't you expect that? What, are we all just a bunch of heathens? Yes, I there's a few of us. I think it's the switched to Linux guy is a Christian, and there's like two or three others. Hmm. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Thanks for the compliment. The Discords never show. Yeah. You know, like, I'm kind of responsible for growing an audience. And so, like, if I'm always talking about Jesus, like, they're going to go, hey, maybe like have a channel about Jesus. And I can respect that. But today's Easter, and this is a big part of my life. This is probably the biggest part of my life, actually. The stuff I do, the techie stuff, that's what I do for a living. That's, you know, but that's not the biggest part of my life. My family comes before this channel. My relationship with God comes before this channel. Everything comes before this. A lot of things come before this channel. I don't spend a terrible amount of time on my videos, even, or on my configs or whatever. I probably spend more than I should, but that's kind of the nature of the kind of channel that I have. But the only reason why I am reluctant somewhat to talk about it's not because I don't want to talk about it. It's I want to respect my audience, and I know that a lot of my audience aren't Christians, and I don't want to turn them off before I can actually talk to them about it. Like if you just turn them off, then like what good is that? Like yeah. Oh wow. So Nate, why'd you retract the messages? That's it was just fine. I okay, cool. But anyway, yeah, that's why. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's that if I inundate people with it, then they won't want to hear about it. But if like on Easter I do some sort of segment like this, and they, you know, and they're cognizant of the fact that I do respect them enough not to inundate them with it all the time, then there's a really good chance that someday I might be able to talk to them about it. Much bigger chance than if I'm just like, preaching at them or something. Ooh, did I? No? Oh, so he retracted. But anyway, you didn't have to retract your comments. Maybe you were trolling. I don't know. But anyway, um, it's just the same. So who else is in the chat? So anyway, did want to show a few things here. So we do have commentaries, like we have heretics. Um, we have all kinds of essays and stuff like that. Um, yeah, he did delete. You're right. I don't know why. Like I wasn't like it was all cool. Like Nate has been in the chat before, so I don't know why what happened there. But there's like this I like this one right here. We have like words in the Greek that I can look. Strong's Concordance, which I used to be really big on the Strong's Concordance. Over the years, though, I rely less on it because unless you speak Greek, you're not going to get but you won't get the weight. Like, if you don't speak another language, you probably don't get this, but I do. Um, like right here, and I do speak Spanish, so and I've read the Bible in English, Spanish, Latin, and I do know a little bit of Greek and Hebrew, but um, like where it says right here, it says, "En el principio creó Dios el cielo y la tierra. La tierra estaba desordenada y vacía. Las tinieblas estaban sobre la faz del abismo. El Espíritu de Dios se movía sobre la faz de las aguas. Y dijo Dios, sea la luz, y fue la luz. Y dijo Dios que la luz era bueno, y separó Dios la luz de las tinieblas. Llamó Dios la luz día y las tinieblas llamó noche. Y fue la tarde y mañana el primer día. Yeah, I don't know why he deleted his messages. I thought they were very appropriate. Anyway, maybe he was trolling. I don't know. Nate has been in this channel, on in the chat before. Um, I don't know. That's weird. Cheers, everyone. God bless. Uh, so, anyway, it's cool when you can actually understand a different language, but you understand the nuances. Like, this reads, I mean, it reads a little differently than even like any of the English versions. And it isn't because they put a lot of different words, it's because the verb usage and the adjective usage is a little richer in a lot of other languages. And Spanish would be one of those languages. So anyway, yeah. I like this. This is a really, really good resource, and you can check this out. I really, really like this. We have a glossary. Oh, okay, this is actually in a different language. Okay, we have maps. Wow. Wow. The land of the Philistines. If you read about that prophecy, there's a prophecy out there that the land of the Philistines will be totally barren. It looks like that prophecy recently has become a reality, unfortunately. Yeah, no one's going to live there. Even though Donald Trump wants to build something on there, he's not. Yeah, it's going to be barren. Nobody's going to live there. Then the real anti Semitism will start rearing its ugly head. Mm, I'm looking at some of these. See, so like here we have, um, like a lot of really good, you know, Bible um, resources here. And I actually am amazed. This is like old stuff, like old publications and things like that, things that are, um, probably were around in like the year 1900. And it's amazing some of the commentaries and different things. that are out there. But yeah, we have Spanish, we have English, so like we have a lot of different translations here. Mm, yeah, like too many to. Oh, and then we have the Wycliffe Bible, which predates the um. And God said light that it was good, and He departed the light for darknesses. Wow, I've never actually read the Wycliffe Bible. That's interesting. All right. Yeah. Um, this one's a good translation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was waste and empty. Wait, that's not the. Maybe that's not the one I was thinking of. That's not the translation I normally read anyway. But English Standard Version, or whatever it is, ASV. Okay, so now. Oh, this is like a. Yeah. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was waste and void. Wait, that's. And the darkness was upon the. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water, and it was light, and God saw the light that it was good, and He divided the light from the darkness. Called the light day, and the darkness He called night, and there was evening, and there was morning, one day. All right. There was there was a Bible that it normally just shows up, but I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, nor like the translation in English that I normally it's usually right here by default, and it's not here. Oh, I'm getting sick of this mouse thing. I don't use a mouse in my day to day life. Um. All right. Modern King James Version. That's a pretty good one. Getting God created the heavens and the earth was without form and empty. Okay, that's actually pretty close. That's a pretty good translation, I guess. Who else is in the chat, man? Man, everybody's just like quiet. What's up with that? Um, I know Ben's here. He's usually in my streams. I think Linux Grandpa is in here. Who else is in here? And Nate might be still in here. Is he still in here? Let's see here. Who else is in my chat? My stream. Okay, so there's a couple of people. One other person. Okay, good deal. So, yeah. So, anyway, fun. Let me see here. All right. So, anyway, so a little bit about me. Let's do it. I think this is cool. So, for those of you who want to know a little bit about me, especially, regarding things like faith and stuff like that. Um, so I grew up in Alaska. Um, yeah, so basically, my parents divorced when I was 12, and or they split up. They later divorced, and then I just got into a lot of trouble. Um, I was really into trouble most of my teenage years, and um, out of the blue, my mom decided she was going to go to church, and I ended up going to church as well with her, and I kept coming back. It's kind of a long story. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I can just tell you that even though I was a total misfit, somehow I wasn't that much of a. They made me not feel that much of a misfit, if that makes sense. And so I later got baptized. I became a Christian, and my life got turned upside down, and I've done pretty much everything wrong that I'm supposed to do, and everything else, but somehow it's always seemed to work for me. Um, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but mainly it's just the simple fact that we can't actually follow the law. And a lot of times people think that they have it all together, or that this person or that person has it all together, and they really don't. um, you know I'm amazed by people in my life who I thought walked on water, and then I find out, no, they're human. They're very human. And so basically, what I didn't realize even back then is the Ten Commandments, right? This is the standard by which we should judge ourselves by whether or not we're good, we're morally excellent people. And the only thing is we can't keep the Ten Commandments. It's impossible. I mean, just try keeping one. Thou shalt not lie. The ninth commandment. Or not to look at a woman to lust for her, right? Like, or if you're a woman, like not to look at a man to lust after him. Like, who can do that? No one. This is why Jesus had to come and die on the cross, and it's for my shortcomings, right? It's because I can't do it. See, I want to lie to people and say, oh, I'm not that bad. No, I'm wretched. I'm horrible. All of those things. And a lot of people go, oh, no, Shasta, you couldn't possibly be that bad. No, I think you're probably a pretty good person, you know. But see, that's not the truth. The truth is that if I were judged by every thought I ever would have, or every impulse I ever had, or anything else, I would be in big trouble. And I shouldn't just say, well, I'm almost as good as someone else, because honestly, I'm not. And that's an honest assessment of where I'm at, right? And so I can't do it. You know, on this very channel, I've gotten so frustrated that I screamed an obscenity. I can't do it. Most of the time, I can keep my composure. Most of the time, I can be kind of good, but I really can't do it on my own. And this is the thing that, like, when I was a teenager and I walked into church and I walked in for the first time and I wasn't all that, right? In fact, you know, I was a mess. I was a literal mess. I had been abused in every single way imaginable. I was angry. I was frustrated that things never seemed to work out for me. And I go to church and I find that a lot of people go, "Hey, how are you doing?" But here's the thing. Here's how I walked into church. See, I was just getting off of work when my mom told me she was going to church. And I was like, okay, I'll go with you. And so I went and changed my out of my uniform and into regular clothes. And I remember, I know this is what I put on. I just put on what was natural. I didn't even, my mom and I were even joking about it on the way to church. She kind of laughed. I had this T-shirt where this woman with a leather bikini was straddling over a Harley Davidson. I like this shirt just because my guitar hero Dave Mustaine wore that shirt in a photo shoot in his Rust in Peace album. Um. So anyway, somehow I got the message that I wasn't that different. People treated me with respect that I didn't even deserve, and so it's like, okay, but that wasn't what kept me going. It was kind of encouraging. But what kept me going was I saw kids that, some of them I got to know them personally and they had something I didn't. And I needed it. I had no illusions about it. I needed something that they had. And so I basically came to faith like that. I was a mess. And then over the next few years, I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. I got a girlfriend that wasn't a Christian, and you can imagine where that went. And then later, I wound up in Job Corps in Moses Lake, Washington, Columbia Basin CCC, baby. Yes. And my best friend was an ex gang leader. He just passed away this last year. Um, he he became a Christian though, and so he took me to the Spanish speaking church, and so I started learning Spanish when after I'd been going there for a while, and and then just the rest is kind of history. Uh, Everybody was telling me I had to go to Mexico, and in fact, when I first came to faith, I befriended a LeBaron, which is a family, a Mormon family here in Mexico. Um, this guy, he was a drywall hanger. The Mandela effect. Um, well, I'm not sure it changed all of them. Yeah, I'm not. I know what you're talking about though. The Mandela effect is basically, in essence, like um so in some manuscripts, we would have like Um, so, like for example, people would add certain things in for context, but we have copies without those things, so we know, um, we're aware of, like a lot of those changes. Like when it says, our Lord Jesus or the Lord Jesus or something like this, that they put some of this embellishment in for context. And they're basically, we're trying to help God out kind of thing, I guess. Maybe I've always kind of thought that, but no, it's not. No, there. If you look in the original, if you look in the original Greek and Hebrew and Latin versions, especially Greek and Hebrew, you'll find like there's this progression where, like, you'll have the actual translation, the like pretty close to the original, and then afterwards there would be like small embellishments. So like for like a small like we have like a complete translation of the Bible that pretty close to what it was originally. We're pretty confident about that for a number of reasons. Then, like I said, there was some embellishments in the Greek and Hebrew that scribes would write in for context. And it actually, this whole Mandela effect actually goes to prove the veracity of the Bible more than it does actually embarrass it when you actually study the issue. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. Anyway, back to my story. So I originally started learning Spanish, and people were telling me you got to go to Mexico. I'm like, I ain't going to Mexico. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? No, I'm not. Me? Mexico? No. I had zero interest. And then my dad, when he heard me speaking Spanish to someone, after I left Job Corps about a year after that, and my dad's like, we got to go to Mexico. And I was like, I don't know about that. And he's like, no, it's cool. We should make it. We should get it. We should make a trip to go to Mexico. And so, really cool. I went to Mexico and I fell in love with the place. And I returned 2 years later. And when I returned, I met a woman. She later became my wife. She's the best thing that's happened to me. She's definitely an anchor in my life. And again, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And, the one thing that I can always rest on is the fact that God is faithful even when I'm not. And there's been plenty of times when I was not so faithful in my walk. And, sometimes I get into a funk, where I'm not really interested, and I don't really want to read my Bible or pray. I look at things that are going on around the world and I get kind of jaded. Like the whole thing that's going on in Palestine right now is problematic for me. I'm certainly not on the side of the Palestinian, especially Hamas. Um, but at the same time, I find things that are problematic. When I think of Temple OS, oh, I don't know if Terry was crazy. To be honest, I did try it out about 10 years ago. It was an interesting project. Um, of course, if you spend that much time around you spend that much time on your computer, you're bound to go crazy, right? Um, I don't know. I don't really see a need for Temple OS because like you have some really good Bible resources away from it. Like what? And I think if I remember right, he did he did set the DNS so that if I remember right, let me just make sure my time is good here. I okay, 3:30, 4:30. Okay. Okay, so I got about another half hour and then I gotta go. Okay. I don't see any problem. I mean, I don't see any reason why Temple OS should exist. I mean, we have all these really good resources, but I remember, like there was like some, like he basically had like this DNS entry where like, certain things like pornography was not able to be accessed very easily, and so that's really that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I made it to Mexico, and it's kind of interesting because I've never been Catholic, and a lot of people, maybe not, they may not understand this, but I live in this Catholic country, and Catholic people are some of the nicest people and some of the most sincere people I've ever met. And they always like to talk about Jesus and talk about the Bible, which is nice. And I think we need more of that. In the U.S., people are afraid to talk about the Bible with other people. But I'll tell you, it was the best thing ever happened to me because I was trying everything and it wasn't working, man. Like, seriously, like, I would, um, uh, I was into drugs and different things. And, it was like I wanted to do what was right, but there was something in me that just wouldn't actually be able, I just couldn't do it. And so um, nothing worked. I was reading books on Buddha and Hinduism and New Age and Catholicism, and I was looking for something. And it's pretty funny. I have a nephew who's in drug rehab right now, and I remember one of the last conversations I had with him because he basically had relapsed. He was in drug rehab for a while. And I just looked at him. I said, you're just looking for Christ. I was like, I know, I've been there. I was looking for Christ. And when I found him, I was like, oh, that's what that was all about. And I finally started to understand, but even then, it took me a little while to understand what Christ offers. Yeah. Is it really low? I don't think so. Yeah, I've heard some people talk like that and say stuff like that. Let me see here. Let me make sure my volume is Oh, that's why. All right, that should be better. Sorry about that. All right, let me just bring that back a little bit. All right, that should be much better. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. But anyway, Chris, yeah, I'd heard some things that he said. I tried to like I tried to yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I've heard a few things, and I always try not to judge people because, you know, I mean, honestly, it's easy to judge people, but, you know, again, maybe, he had some traumatic things going on or whatever. I don't know, but like I'd heard some of the stuff that was said about him, but and again, I don't know how much of it is actually true. I haven't really looked into it, and I don't even like, why does that affect me? Like, it really doesn't. But anyway, yeah. Right now though, so anyway, yeah, I should have my microphone volume keeps like dropping on KDE, and I don't know why that is. I wish I knew. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, very good. So I think that a lot of people probably, you know, probably have like some sort of um I think some people have like their a God story of some sort, and or something where like some supernatural occurrence happened in their life where they're like, dude, I can't explain this. I've had a lot of those experiences. Um, People who know me, they know I should be dead 10 times over, and I'm not. I mean, that's not hyperbole. Um, I had a workplace accident where I fell like 6 stories. Uh, I busted both of my heels. I was in a wheelchair for 2 years. And yeah, I'm still alive to talk about it. UFO experience? No, I don't think so. I've never seen any UFOs personally. I do know people who have, though. I always find those stories really fascinating. But anyway, 2 years ago, so I've had 5 surgeries in 10 years. Two heel replacement surgeries, and then I had open heart surgery, like right here. I don't know if you can see that, but like they opened up my chest and did a quadruple bypass. Like there's a artery out of my arm, a vein out of my leg, and yeah, I had a 99% blockage to my in my artery, and they were like, "Yeah, you have to have surgery." And so, yeah, and that kind of blockage, it was at a place in around my heart that if it would have went, I probably would have bled to death before could have. I would have probably bled to death before I could have got to the hospital. And they basically said that people sometimes don't have any symptoms until it happens. And I was having symptoms of angina, and that's why I went and got it checked out. But if I would have not had any symptoms, I probably would have died. So I have, my life has been preserved so many times. And, it's like one of the things that's so cool about my story is that, um, like when I fell several stories. I busted both my heels, and then I busted one of the bones right above my ankle, tibia or fibia. I don't remember which. The one on the outside. I forget which one it is. But anyway, um, I was in bad shape. My back didn't get damaged. Um, like the whole thing was a miracle. But the one thing that I keep take, the one thing that I have to say is at the end of the day, um, when that happened, one of the things that really speaks out to me is the fact that my son almost didn't know who I was, really. Didn't know me. Like, yes, he knew who I was, but he didn't know me like he knows me today. Like, dude, like, if somebody can just imagine how grateful I am, yeah, there's just no comparison, right? I am so grateful that my son not just has a relationship with me and all that, which is great, but he got to know who I am. Like, and in the fact is my son is the most amazing young man I have ever laid eyes on, man. He is so amazing. Anyway, the simple fact of the matter is that if I would have died that day, my son wouldn't have known who I was, and God was good enough to preserve my life. And so I'm a pretty grateful person. I have a good marriage. People are amazed by this that I have a good marriage, but I do. I have a good marriage. Um, I've been married for 25 years, and honestly, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. My wife is one of the best women I have ever known. And, I mean, I guess I'm speaking in human terms, but yeah. Anyway, that's a little bit about my life. I know it's a little boring. I mean, I don't know too many people who've fallen several stories and recovered, but hey, maybe you have. I don't know. Anyway, I am just so grateful to be alive and be kicking and that sort of thing. Anyway, um, what's your God story? Um, that's mine. I just, that I think, when I make videos about tech and different things, that a lot of people have this idea that, a lot of people have this idea that, it's all about, my channel and my life should be all about tech and I should be just, hacking away. And I do that a lot, but, I do see a need for Jesus, for God in my life. I do see a need to, read my Bible and pray and meditate and, you know, think about life, think about, um, some of the deeper questions of existence and that sort of thing. I see a need for that because if I'm not asking, some really deep questions, then, it's like I'm just kind of walking blindly and it's kind of boring to walk that way where you're like, yeah, there's nothing but, if you think about why you're here, like if you just go to the mall, go to a public place, you find people and you can see it's on the expression is on their face. They are afraid to ask those questions. they're afraid to ask, why am I here? And it's all over the expression of their face. I'm not judging, but sometimes it's like so obvious. You know, they got money, they have whatever comfort that this life offers, and you know, but they don't have peace. And you can see it. You you see it all over the people's faces. And I know sometimes that is a little misleading, and I never, so please don't misunderstand me. I never judge someone based on my initial encounter, but I know at least some of those people that my intuition is probably correct. And if some of those people don't have that peace, don't have that, um, that aren't asking those questions, just like a small percentage of those people that I see, even. You say it was 5% of the people that I think might not have peace. It's still a lot. But anyway, I'm not trying to get on my soapbox, my pulpit, or anything else. I just know that sometimes I need to detach from some of this stuff that I'm doing, and I need to fill myself up with what really matters. And sometimes I need to get away from this. And so that was my only point, is sometimes I need to ask those questions. And I went on a little bit of a rant there, but that's probably because nobody's actually chatting. So who's still with me? I see there's a couple of people. Um, anyway, my whole like coming to faith was just I didn't orchestrate it. I didn't want any of it. I didn't want anything to do with Christianity. I didn't want to be a Christian. But when I realized that, I don't even know how to describe it, but when I realized that it was, hmm, how can I put this? When I realized that when I realized that this could actually be true, I guess maybe that was one of the turning points when I realized that um, there's some like evidence for the Bible. I realized there was some evidence for the Bible being true, for Jesus's words to be taken seriously, and that they are true, and that evidence is more than I could ever possibly imagine. We got 10,000 copies of the New Testament in Greek. I mean, that is amazing. You know, the Quran has 700. Okay, we have 10,000 copies. Just let that sink in. Anyway, I ain't gonna bore you too much with too many more details. Oldie, are you still here? What about you, Chris? Anyone else in the chat or anywhere? Let me know. We have a few people here. Who is still with me? Just shout me out. Say something. Talk. So I have mixed feelings on the rapture. Um, So, like the whole LaHaye crowd, probably not. Like the whole what is it? I forget. Like LaHaye and that other dude. Um, can't think of other Left Behind series. I guess it is. I think it's a little fanciful, if you ask me. But the end times, yeah, I definitely believe at least. Uh, like I think like there is some evidence, like the book of Daniel at least spoke about the end times. The book of Revelations spoke about the end times. Jesus spoke about the end times. I think that's definitely true. The rapture, again, I have mixed feelings because there's going to be like an antichrist, and somehow we're supposed to be raptured before the antichrist comes. Um, and there is some evidence to suggest that the church will be taken away, will be removed because the Holy Spirit will be removed off the earth. I don't know how to um read that, to be honest. I mean, I've read it, but at the same time, without the Holy Spirit, nobody can be saved. But there's going to be a bunch of people who get martyred for the gospel, and they are going to be saved. At least you hope so, right? I mean, otherwise, why would so I don't know. It has a lot of questions, and so basically I'm not if I were to um if I were to choose something, I would probably be like mid rapture. Yeah, definitely. Time will tell. The only thing that I will say about it is like okay, so like maybe like the mid rapture, whatever, mid trib rapture scenario might be possible, maybe. Or the other thing is, I'm just kind of like more like pan rapture, you know? Like, however it does happen, it's going to pan out for me. Like, I don't really care one way or the other. It doesn't bother me in any sense. So I'm what they call pan rapture. It'll pan out for me. I don't really care. Um, but yeah, I don't know either. I don't have all the answers as far as eschatology is concerned, but I know a lot of people who certainly think they do. Um, I listen to a few people online, and it's just baffling to me how they think they have all the answers. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's uh, definitely interesting from my vantage point, but anyway, I really enjoy I enjoy I guess back to my whole topic, I guess. I enjoy some of these free and open source tools that we have. I think they're really good resources. I mean, I have a few resources, like I have a Strong's Concordance, I have the Jewish Bible, I have a lot of other other resources as well that I rely on apart from this. But yeah, I really do like some of those tools. I think they're really neat. I like the fact that somebody thought it was important for them to put it together. So I'm really happy about that as well. Um, yeah. So anyway, I gotta kind of get out of here though. I have class in a few minutes, and so I have to probably restart my computer for that. Anytime I have audio, anything like going on or something going on with my camera, I always restart my computer because every time I don't, it seems like I usually regret it. Shard, how are you? I'm just about to get off. Oh man. Hello, how are you, Shard? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Yes, he is risen. Hallelujah. Happy Easter to you too. God is good all the time, right? Anyway, I'm so glad I did this because, you know, I was actually going to make a video about my favorite Bible study tools are free and open source. I'm so glad that I just had like a conversation with people. It made it a lot more fun, a little bit more dynamic. I mean, I don't mind that. Like I don't mind like making a video and stuff, but it just wouldn't have been as fun. I think it was so much more fun, and hopefully people got a little something out of it. Some of my non-Christian friends on here, hopefully they got to understand that, like, because sometimes people think my only flaw is the simple fact that I believe in Jesus, but that's like a flaw. Okay, but honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So the fact that I came to faith, the fact that God has been so good to me, it's great. And, I want to respect my audience and respect their interests, but at the same time, something like Easter is a perfect time to talk about tech, talk about Jesus, talk about what God has done in my life. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, Shard, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry you showed up right when I was leaving. Yeah, exactly. Time to reflect. Exactly. So anyway, everybody, you just have a blessed Easter. Um, yes, please do. I really hope you do catch me next time. And yeah, I'll talk to you next time. I'm sorry, like I'm leaving, but I got class in about 15 minutes. So anyway, yeah, happy Easter, everyone, and God bless.